Hi there, I'm Michael. I'm a developer at Combeenation, and in today's video I will give you a brief introduction to most parts of the Combeenation platform. After watching this video, you will know how to start a new configurator project, where to edit the configurator's product logic and UI, and where to upload required assets like images, 3D files, or Excel files containing tabular product data too. You will also learn where to find more detailed information and how to get the personal support. Let's dive into it. I will use our demo account to walk you through the platform, as it comes with some existing assets and a configurator. If you don't have a personal account yet, you can also use this public demo account to get a first impression of most platform features. You can find the login page at portal.combeenation.com. The demo account's credentials are demo@combeenation.com with the password demo access, where D and A are uppercase. Let's log in. After login, you will see our welcome screen, which provides some important quick links to help you get started and find your way around. Besides some first steps like creating a configurator, it also provides links to our documentation and shows you our email address if you ever need more personal support. You can always come back to the screen by clicking on the Welcome Demo User link at the left. Looking at the navigation sidebar, you can see three main areas: the company switcher at the top, the configurator area at the center, and the company area at the bottom. Companies and configurators are two of the most fundamental building blocks of the Combeenation platform. You can be part of one or more companies. One use case for joining multiple companies is if you are working for a digital agency and build or maintain configurators for multiple clients of yours, where each client is represented by a dedicated company. Rather similar, a company can contain one or more configurators. Having the ability to create multiple configurators in one company comes in handy when one company offers a variety of products with different product logic and UI. With that knowledge in mind, it gets rather clear why we are separating the navigation sidebar into those three areas. The company switcher lets you choose the company you are currently working on if you are part of multiple companies, which is clearly not the case for the demo user, because it only is part of the demo company. In the configurator area at the center, you can find all the pages which concern dedicated configurator. And the company area at the bottom provides links to pages with company-specific settings and functionality. I will first show you the asset manager, which you can find in the company area of the navigation bar. Here you can upload resources like images, 3D models, Excel files, and many other file types. After uploading these files, you can access them within your configurator by showing the images or 3D models, or by populating your configurator's UI with available product options from your tabular data. The fact that the asset manager is located in the company area tells us that the assets are part of the company, which means that all assets can be used in all configurators of the currently selected company. When entering the asset manager, you can see that assets are organized in two parts: the bundle and the bundle version. The bundles are pure organizational units, and you can use them to separate your assets to your likings. Within the bundle, you can further group your assets by putting them into folders, which are marked by the arrow icon at the front. If you only have one configurator in your company, you might find it easier to only work with one bundle. On the other hand, when having multiple configurators in a company, it's usually a good idea to use different bundles for configurator-specific data. All such bundles are versioned. In practice, you will usually have a published version of your assets and a working draft when adding new features to your configurator. This allows you to edit existing assets without changing the behavior of an already published configurator. Later, you will see that configurators are also versioned in a very similar manner by having published versions and draft versions. On this screen, we can see that you already have an existing bundle named Bike Assets with a few versions. The reason for this is that all demo users share the same asset bundle. When it comes to version management, there's not much to know. Whenever you add a new asset or change existing ones within the published bundle, the platform automatically creates a new draft under the hood, which is best shown live. The currently selected bundle version, V11, is a published version, which you can see by the fact that the Published button is disabled and that the version name, V11, does not contain the word draft. This will change shortly when I upload a new file by clicking on the New button, selecting Upload File, selecting a file inside my Explorer, and confirming the Upload button with the default options. You can see right away that the new asset has been added, which is currently in upload state. You can also see that a new draft has been created. This draft is now named version 13 and it contains the word draft. Usually the Publish button would be enabled right now, but it is still disabled as the demo user is not allowed to publish a draft, which is also told you by the tooltip when hovering over the button. Back to our newly uploaded asset, we can see that I uploaded a 3D file containing a bike. Different asset types will show you different details in the center here. In the case of 3D assets, we provide an interactive preview in which you can zoom, rotate, and pan the 3D model. We also show you the basic structure of the 3D file, which is important as you can change the shown parts of your 3D model in the configurator to reflect the user's chosen options. And in order to change those options, you need to know how the parts of your 3D model are called. Next, I will show you the dashboard, which you can find in the configurator area of the navigation bar. This page gives you some insights into how your configurator performs using the shown metrics. Obviously, the currently shown metrics of the demo configurator are not representational, as it is no publicly accessible configurator. The dashboard also shows you some basic info about the live published configurator version and a quick link to the drafts page, which I'll show you next. The drafts page is also located in the configurator area. One thing that all pages in the configurator area have in common is the header bar, in which you can change the currently selected configurator if you have more than one configurator in the currently selected company. Within this header, you can also create or delete configurators. The options to create and delete configurators are shown at the top right for regular users, but they are hidden for a demo user. Demo users can create new configurators on the welcome screen, but are not allowed to delete configurators. Back to the drafts page. Configurators are also organized in versions, which can either be published or drafts versions. When creating a new configurator, you always start with a draft which you can publish once you are happy with it and want to share it with the public. A published configurator version cannot be altered anymore, which ensures that the configurator you've embedded in your shop or homepage does not change until you publish a new version. As already mentioned earlier, the basic idea behind this is rather similar to how asset bundles are versioned, as they also exist as published and draft versions. What you can see here is that no draft version exists at the moment, but we do have a live version published of our configurator, for which we show some basic info at the top. Also, when expanding the history, you can see that this configurator has already been published multiple times, as each entry in this list represents a published version. The live version and its link at the top always point to the latest published version, which is the one shown at the top of the history. If you like to add new features to your configurator, you can use the New Draft button, which creates a new draft that is based on your current live version. In this dialog, you can choose a name for the new draft. It is recommended to choose a name which briefly describes the work you are doing within this draft. Let's say the bike is available in new colors and we'd like to add those new colors to the configurator. In this case, I choose a name like New Color Options. After creating this new draft, we can start editing our configurator in this new draft version, either by clicking on the link or by going into the menu and clicking on the Edit Draft option, which redirects us to the Configurator editor. We have now entered the platform's Configurator editor. This is where you can manage the whole product or configurator logic and build its UI. When it comes to building configurators, there are three major building blocks which I'd like to briefly explain in the following. First, you need to let the configurator know where to retrieve its data from. As I've shown you earlier, you usually store your data in asset bundles. By clicking on the Assets button at the top center, you open a dialog in which you can assign asset bundle versions to a configurator. In this case, we can see that there is already an asset bundle assigned, as it is shown in the Assigned Bundles list. You can always inspect the asset bundle content by clicking on the version link, which leads you to the Asset Manager with the correct bundle version selected. As you can see, we are now in the Bike Assets bundle with version 11 selected. If you'd like to use a different bundle version, you can use the plus button in the Available Bundles versions list. For example, I'd like to use the earlier created bundle draft, so I press on the plus button next to version 13 draft. Since this draft version is newer than the already assigned version, the editor asks me if I'd like to upgrade the assignment, which was exactly my intention. You can see now that the assigned bundle version changed from published version 11 to the draft version 13. If you like the configurator to use data from multiple asset bundles, you can use the drop-down at the top to also assign versions from different bundles. The demo user only has one asset bundle, which is why the drop-down doesn't reveal more items when clicking on it. The second building block are the so-called components. Components are where all the product logic comes from. A configurator consists of multiple components, of which you can create as many as needed. You can find all components in the component list at the left, and when selecting a component, the rest of the screen is filled with the component editor. This component editor is where you can edit the component logic and see its results. For example, in this example, we have selected the component named products_tbl, which probably stands for table. And we can see that the logic within this component reads data from an asset from a data source within our assigned asset bundle. As you can see, this data comes in tabular form and is probably from an Excel file. And it holds info about different types of available tires and other bike components. For example, here we are seeing two different tires with different product IDs and different thumbnails. I will not go into the details about how those components work, as that's the topic of a different video. But I would like to point out that you can always create new components by clicking on this plus button on the top of the component list, which then opens a dialog where you can choose the component type, its name, and other options. The third and last building block of the component editor, which I'd like to show you, is the design component, which exists in every configurator. When selecting this component, you can see and edit the UI or design of your configurator. This UI is built of different controls, which together form the layout and allow the user to interact with your configurator. All of those controls are shown in this tree at the right, where you can adjust the appearance and behavior of each control and connect those controls to your product logic, which comes from the components at the left. You can create new controls by clicking on the plus button above the controls tree. This opens a dialog in which you can choose from different control types. For example, you could use the data view control to show the user a list of different options. In the bike configurator at hand, the Rahmengröße option is such a data view, which lets the user choose one of the available sizes. Again, I will not go into further details regarding the design editor, as that would go beyond the scope of this video. Just one last thing, you can also create controls by selecting a container control within the design and clicking the plus button here. This way, the control will be placed into the selected container. To wrap this all up, I'd like to summarize the most important info regarding the configurator editor from this video. There are three basic building blocks of every configurator: the data, which comes from assigned asset bundles, the components, which hold all the product logic, and the UI, which lives inside the design editor and is built of multiple controls. One last thing I'd like to point out is that you can always use the preview link above the component list to open your fully functional configurator in a new tab for testing the things you're currently developing. Here you can test and use the configurator with all the changes from our new draft. This preview gives you the same options and experience as your customers will get when opening your live configurator. You can play with all available options and see the changes on the product in our interactive 3D model at the center. For example, we could change the color of the frame here, we could change the selected components, and we can move the 3D model around, pan it, or zoom into it to see more details. I will now leave the design editor, which leads us back to the dashboard. If you need more details, you can always visit our documentation at docs.combeenation.com or by clicking on the help icons, which you can find in the editor, as well as in the dashboard at the top right corner. You can also contact us for more personal support or a private onboarding session at info@combeenation.com. If you don't already have your own free account and company, register now by using the register option on our homepage or the register button on the demo user's welcome screen. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it gave you some useful information, and I'm looking forward to provide more in-depth content soon.